Let's roll. This is Countercharge, your podcast for ranks, flanks, and kings of war. Join your hosts as they delve into the world of Panithor and bring you worldwide coverage of all things Kings of War.
All right, welcome to Countercharge, you big nerds. I'm Trent Sosby.
And I'm Rough Enough. I don't know how many times in that Masters conversations your name came up. And it was either like furious because you moved from some location that someone enjoyed your company. Yes, right. Or there's jealousy. You're breaking people's hearts.
I appreciate the shout outs. It makes me feel important. I'm still going through, dude. Speaking of the Masters, I don't know when you're going to drop this episode, but I'm still in the middle of listening to all the content you've gotten from Masters, and it's been amazing. Hearing from everybody, like some of these names, I haven't seen people in years, and just getting to hear from them has been great. So you did a great job. Well, you know what? Maybe you need to go events more often and not play just to get content, because it's been great.
You say that. There's some truth to that, because I was able to just record and, well, I actually just chat. It just happened to be that we were recorded. So, you know, and we did try something different this year that hopefully people enjoyed. And if they have feedback on this, please put it on the Facebook group. Try something different, which was to release the content broken up into smaller chunks, you know, based on the guest we had. So if we had 2 or 3 conversations with a specific guest or a group of guests or from the same region, we bundled those together rather than what in the past we would do is like maybe 3 or 4, you know, really long chronologically put together up. Like we'd have a Friday episode and maybe a Saturday and a part 1 and part 2. Hopefully what this does is it makes it more accessible, right? Because I mean, there's some stuff that like people look at the topic or the guests are like, oh, that's cool, but that's not really what I'm into. And they can jump to whatever they want. Yeah. A little bit easier. And there's like this deluge, right? Like we're on like 7 or 8 days in a row where every day there's something coming out, and that's not going to stop because we still have, I don't know, 2 or 3 more that are already edited, ready to drop. And we still have 4 to 5 more hours of content. So yeah, I think we ended up with like 16 hours of total content. Now, not everything's usable, right?
Some go into the vault, never to resurface again.
Correct. And well, what's funny is you say the vault, but we literally do have a vault.
Oh, I know.
Where, yeah, which is, you know, there are things that just go like it's blackmail material for the future, right? A lot of it is just content that is the same of something else's art. Like if we have 2 or 3 people talking about the same exact thing, sometimes it kind of comes off as like, okay, you're treading the same water. But yeah, I'm excited. Before we get really into this episode, we really need to talk about hobby, because I know you in particular have been hobbying like a madman.
Yeah, well, my hobbying relates to the topic of this episode, where I've come into some great deals scounging around on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, mini swap on Reddit, and all of this stuff. And when you can get so me personally, I don't like, I'm not going to say I don't like it, but it's not my favorite part of the hobby is assembly and building and cleaning mold lines and stuff like that. Now, that being said, I haven't really gotten into like kit bashing and stuff. And I know some people like really get into that. And I've seen some like super impressive stuff, but it's just not really been my thing. So if I can find, number one, a deal, right? And number 2, some stuff that's already assembled, stuff that's already cleaned up, stuff that's already primed, you know, that's kind of the way to go. So I have right now sitting beside me, I haven't counted them yet, but I want to say it's right around 100 skeletons and 100 zombies. So I'm an undead player. It's basically the only army that I play.
That's a good start, Trent.
Yeah. And I didn't really, I don't know. I feel like I pigeonholed myself a little bit in 3 because I was running. Remember in, it was 3.0. It wasn't 3.5. They had the formations. You know what I'm talking about? So for undead, it was 2 legions of zombies and a gore blight. So I love multi-basing. I feel like everybody in King's War loves multi-basing. And so I went all in on like my 2 legions of zombies, and that was kind of like the core of what I had for my zombies. So I had a ton of painted zombies before, but then with the changes to 4, I'm like, oh man, it would really be nice to have some hordes to have a little bit more flexibility with stuff. So that's kind of where I was thinking in about it, because I have like all of my hammers, like werewolves, whites, and like all the stuff that I could ever use. I kind of have all that built out, like all my chaff and everything too. And I was like, I really, really, and I feel like a lot of armies or a lot of people are in the same scenario where it's like, man, I really got to just pump out the core, right? And it's difficult when you're talking about, Horde of Zombies is awesome. I think off the top of my head, a Horde of Zombies like 110 points for an unlock, and it's like their defense 2, but it's like 22 nerves, something like that. That's a lot to chew through. But when you think about the fact that it's 110 points, but it's 40 models you have to paint. Now I'm not doing 100% full model count, but it's something to keep in mind. So yeah, I'm all about. So I'm in the middle of getting all of those straight. I'm trying to figure out how I want to build everything and set everything up. Been 3D printing a little bit because I like using the little terrain bits and bobs that I have to try to make it consistent, because the undead army that I have right now, I really need to sit down and like actually add how many points that I have, because I know in third edition I did add it up one time and it was like 12,000 ish points. I've added a couple of things since then, so who knows what it is now. But I didn't have like a bunch of unlocks for fourth edition. So that's what was killing me. So it'll be interesting. And I'm trying to keep everything consistent. Like I have all the STLs from 2023 when I did my big rebasing initiative. So the whole reason I like did the army the way that I did was for back in Adepticon 2023. So I'm trying to keep it like relatively consistent. Like you can see the differences in the models, but like the basing kind of like brings it all together. So I'm excited about it, but I know we say this every episode, time is limited. So I'm really just trying to get in like an hour or two here and there, maybe run the 3D printer overnight to get that going. But yeah, it's exciting. I don't know. I love the zombies, because like you can a bad paint job on a zombies, they're zombies, right? So it doesn't matter.
100%. Well, on that 3D printed front, I know you printed out the widget set that I made, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things I've been doing hobby wise is I actually made a tray that holds the 40 millimeter tokens.
Nice, dude. I know you were talking about doing that.
Yeah, so you'll definitely have to print it out and give me some feedback on it.
Yeah.
It's
How many
crazy.
does it hold?
It holds 10 because that's that's what you need, right? For bluff tokens. And shout out to the Masters crew. They made these really cool MDF Kings of War Masters tokens that are bluff tokens. And I've got you a set. So you and Dylan both.
Nice.
They also were really cool. They have these best of the rest rulers. I mean, it's not much, but it's cool, right? It's like a memento,
Yeah.
And when you look on it, you can look at it fondly and go, oh, that's the event that I should have went to, but I didn't go.
Oh man, I know.
Right.
I remember I was trying to keep up with everything, and I think I asked you if you had seen the results yet, because I wanted to look at them. This was before like all the content started coming out, and we got all the final results and everything like that. And I was sitting there looking about it. I was talking to my wife about it, and she was like, "Why didn't you go?" And I was like, I didn't really think about it, to be honest with you. I don't know. We were just like so busy, and I was like, "Oh well, next year, yeah,
right?
100%."
It's on the East Coast, right? It'll be much closer to you. You could drive up there with the fam if you wanted. So
yeah, honestly, maybe you can cut over, drive across the entire state of Tennessee and Virginia, pick me up, and then we'll shoot.
I will
north.
go get Dylan first. Right,
and then Arkansas,
so
right?
Go an hour and a couple hours to go west, get the handsome redhead, and then shoot it right over to Virginia, and then we go north. Yeah, it sounds like a plan.
That'd be great, man. We just take the coast up.
I also wanted to mention this was the most painless Masters I've ever attended. I mean, there was nothing, and that's all a testament to Kyle Peach and Connor Murphy and Jason Burr. Those guys had their act together. They did a lot of planning. And they just rocked. So, and the venue was chef's kiss. I mean, it's like the Bug Eater venue, but bigger, maybe. So they were really able to spread the tables out. I mean, everybody had an 8-foot table to play on with like a side table.
That's so nice, man.
I was worried too. You're in a gym, like it's going to be warm now. This place, I mean, it's Minnesota. I guess they had perfect air conditioning. They had excellent air conditioning. So you'll hear more content still coming. We're not even close, right? We've got, like I said, lots more coming. And if you haven't heard your favorite Kings of War personality, just wait, because there's a very good chance that the only person that I lamented that I didn't get on was Josh LaFoon. Like, he's the one of the playtesters. And after we were leaving, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe with all those people there, I didn't get him on. So that's something I've got to rectify. I think I need to do a better job next time of planning, rather than just sitting at the table
You
and
have to have a
and
roster, man. You have to look at
correct
what is it,
a little
64 people, and be like,
checklist, like I'm
okay, hey,
collecting
we got 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here.
100%, or like
Yeah.
I'm like a little checklist, like when I collect action
Oh
figures,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
like, oh, I got him. It's like a
And then
Pokemon. You got to
if
collect them
somebody
all.
comes up again, you're like, no, I already got you. Sorry.
Got you, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, got you, bro. No,
Oh
Mike, we
man,
got
that's
enough.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've heard just from listening to the episodes and seeing stuff on Facebook, it just sounds like it was a very well run event. All the logistics were squared away, like with the food, and then I know they had the shuttles and everything. It sounded like
Yeah,
they did a
it was
really,
great.
really good job. That's awesome.
And the evening activities, like the rest, the restaurants they had in the area.
And I mean, let's
were
be
really good,
honest, like we're, us counterchargers, we're not here for the trophy, right? We're just here for a good time. The evening events are like what you go for, right?
The highlight of the weekend, though, was I was driving somewhere, maybe to get gas, and I had to stop because it was a Canadian geese crossing. They were just like 50 Canadian geese, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." They didn't give two craps that I was waiting for them.
Yep.
They were like, "You're on our time, bro."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Taking our time. Oh man, that's awesome. Did you have a hobby update? Because I know I talked about mine. Did you have anything on your end?
Yeah, unfortunately, my hobby update was working on this guy here, and also,
It's sweet though, dude. I
I'll
need
be
to
honest
check
with
that
you
out.
though, I'm also struggling with my printer. I've got an old Prusa at work, and we replaced all the hot end and everything, and I can get the PLA to print pretty consistently, but man, we have like a ton of PETG, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
or a ton of PET. I can't get this damn stuff to print, dude. It will not stick to the thing. So it might be that it might be time the plate needs to be replaced, right? Like it's just old, man, and maybe it's just wore out. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I haven't messed with that material, but I always know throwing it in a dehumidifier seems to work. I don't know how you guys store it where you're at there.
Oh, the material itself.
Yeah,
that's a good idea too, because once you open the bag, like it's out there, right? So that's a good idea. I should try that. So yeah, so that's been my hobby update. Fighting with the Prusa.
Yeah, dude. I know. I have the Bamboo Lab P1S, and I've only had it. I think I got it in like May, maybe. Dude, it's insane how easy it is to use a 3D printer nowadays.
And they're not that expensive, right?
This one, I think I got it. It was on sale on Amazon, like $400,
right?
With a roll of filament.
I told the guys at work, I'm like, let's just throw this Prusa in the trash, and we'll just buy a new one.
Yeah,
it's not worth the effort.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just scrap it. You can get another one. But yeah, okay, all right, cool. Sounds good.
Well, announcement wise, don't forget to help the Bane chat guys. They've got a website up called GetKingsOnLongshanks.com, and go over to the website, and it'll direct you over to the voting operation on Longshanks, where you can upvote to get Kings of War on Longshanks. And as I looked at it today, there's 455 votes for it and only 39 against. So that's pretty good, right? I mean, that's
solid.
I don't know if they have a critical mass of votes they need, 4 votes that they need to make it happen, but every vote helps. So if you haven't done it, please head over to that. And Trent, I had heard something from Noah Hutton. I don't know that it got in the podcast, but there's a one day coming up, right?
Yeah, there's a one day GT in Martinsburg, West Virginia. It's at your hobby place. I'm not saying your specific hobby place.
No. That's the name of the store.
The name of the store is your hobby place, because when Noah sent me a message about it, I was so confused. I was like, "You're having a one day in Williamsburg, Virginia?" But then he said like West Virginia. No, okay. So it's the name of the store is Your Hobby Place, and it's in Martinsburg, West Virginia, and it's Saturday, August 1st. So he's got a Facebook page for it. I think he's already got 10 people signed up last time I looked.
So how far of a drive is that for you?
It's about, I think it's 2.5 to like 3 hours. I think I skirt around DC. So I'm considering going. I really, really would like to go to get 3 games in, especially because it looks like with like 10 people going, it's a great group of people going there. But my wife is 37 weeks pregnant right now.
Oh, congratulations!
So she's due in the middle of August, and this is August 1st. So I don't know if it's going to happen. I guess I'm waiting like to the last minute, because it might be my last hurrah for a while. So we'll see how it goes. If not, I'll be there in spirit. But it sounds like it's going to be a great event. I've never actually done a 1 day before. I kind of just jumped right into the 2 day GT. So the idea of just getting 3 games in and then calling it a day sounds like a lot of fun. And plus, I've been tweaking my list a little bit since the last time I played. So I kind of want to test it out too.
Yeah. The other announcement that I wanted to make is that there's a 1 day in St. Louis coming up, hosted by Aaron Richardson. And I don't know that all of the Aaron Richardson content has made it out yet from US Masters. So I just wanted to make sure I share that. There's a 1 day in St. Louis, and it's on August 22nd. It's from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and it's at the Miniature Market store, which is in Cave Springs, St. Peters, Missouri. And they have room for up to 20 players. It's about a 5-hour hike for me. I am sort of thinking about it, like maybe drive up and then spend the night Saturday and come back. So we'll see. I had such a great time at Masters, just vicariously watching people play very poorly on the table that, hey, I could do that. Right.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The last time we had my local Richmond group had a meetup a couple of weeks ago. It was like our July meetup. We normally try to do it once a month, but in the summertime, it's kind of hard to get everybody together. But we were going to like our normal location, but then there was a AOS tournament, so we got kind of booted off the table. So then we had to reschedule. But anyway, it ended up only being 3 of us there. And some people drove much further than I did. And honestly, it's kind of been a long week at work, and I was like, guys, like I'm cool with watching. Honestly, like I'm fine just sitting there laughing and watching. And that's they played the Titanfell scenario, the new scenario from the Fracture book. And I tell you what, I was kind of jealous I wasn't playing because it looked like a lot of fun. I don't know if you've looked at some of the new scenarios,
It's awesome.
but yeah, they've added some flavor for sure.
Yeah, it's got a narrative spin to it, which I really like. We'll take a quick commercial break, and on the other side, we'll get into the main topic, which is secondhand models and that thrill of the hunt.
This is Eric Trowbridge, 2017 Adepticon Clash of Kings champion, and you are listening to Countercharge.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Countercharge. We're going to go ahead and jump into the main topic here. Rob alluded to it there a little bit, but basically we're just talking about secondhand miniatures. Secondhand models, secondhand terrain, secondhand like anything for the hobby, especially anything you can think of for the hobby, right? Secondhand paints. I've seen some people sell secondhand paints online. Just anything to get a deal, basically. So really, to start us off, because I had talked about me just buying some secondhand models, is Rob. What are your thoughts?
Over the years, I've bought lots of secondhand models, especially in the Warhammer days, right? What's weird about me, though, is I like to actually put the models together. So I don't typically like to buy pre-assembled models. So I'm usually looking for either new in box or opened but still on the sprue.
Yeah, something on the sprue.
Yeah, now, but there's been metal models in the past where metal's fine. Those are easy enough to strip, right?
Yeah, you're leaning towards like not painted models. Like you want
correct.
The bargain, but you want somebody's pile of shame that they haven't touched yet.
I have bought one large army that was already painted. So I have a buddy, Norm, who lives out in California, and this is a long time ago. I'm going to guess it's 20 years ago. He's like, Rob, I have every possible conceivable Orcs and Goblins model all painted going back to the 90s. And I don't know. I gave him, he didn't, maybe $500, right? And to be fair, I've used the army in Kings of War because that's how I have 100 Wolf Riders. So I have an army that I take into an event. It was like 2,900, 3,000 points. And it's almost all Wolf Riders. I had to take some other stuff because it wasn't legal if I didn't. But it was so much fun. So yeah, I mean, I have done that, and on that one, I did actually, they were painted, and I tried to clean them up, maybe add some washes here or there. I tried to correct the basing so it all matched. Yeah, that's probably the outlier. Most of the time, I'm the one selling armies. So back in the day, I had a bunch of new in-box Bretonnian stuff that gave Jeremy for his song, and our buddy Dwayne wanted some dwarves, and so I sold them basically 90% of my Clan Blazing Beard army. It's basically a Slayer army with a lot of with like a mining theme. So I am typically the one selling the secondhand models because I don't know about you. I have a rule that I don't ever want to repaint a model. So if I don't like something I've done, rather than repaint it, I will buy a new model to replace it and paint that. And then if I no longer have use for those old models, then I'll just sell them, or in some cases, just give them away to a young player, our new player. So,
I think I've heard you say that before. I'm sure your collection is extensive too, but yeah, I'm right there
it's
with
big.
you. I don't
It's
think
big.
I would want to.
I think my Tomb King army is probably in the 10,000 point range. Orcs and Goblins is probably in the 20 to 25,000 point range. I mean, there's some really massive Warhammer armies. Now,
Yeah.
Kings of War armies aren't that big. I mean, Ogres is probably the biggest. It's maybe 8,000 points, 7,500, something like that of painted. And I should mention, why are they so big? Well, back in the day, the way we played Warhammer was in large scale games, 30, 40, 50,000 points aside, 6 players aside, just going at it. So,
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That was fun. Could you do that in like one night?
it was cool to hang out with people because we'd only ever get to, if we played on a Saturday, we'd only get through 3 or 4 turns. And it was so packed on the table that, like, some of your better stuff never even saw action, because it's like you got, like, you don't have a second line, you have a third, fourth, fifth, sixth line, right? Like there's just not enough room to put everything that you want. So, again, though, I wish we would have had Kings of War back then, because Kings of War probably would have been a much easier rule set to facilitate those large scale combats.
Oh, yeah, man, I'm sure. And I think a couple of things you said that kind of resonated with me too. Like, I have a couple of models. I'm looking back at them now. I have an old GW. I think it's an old fantasy dragon that I bought secondhand, and I got it actually when I was over in Germany. I'm like always on Facebook Marketplace. It's like the main reason that I'm on Facebook, other than all the Kings of War stuff. And somebody was selling it for like, I don't know, $50, and I was like, oh, dude, I gotta have this, right?
Is it metal?
No, it's not metal. It's not metal.
Okay. Yeah, now we're talking about this. The one thing I should mention is I do buy, or have bought, a lot of secondhand models for War Master, because we play Kings of War in 10 millimeter, and I have essentially a Varinger army that I used Warriors of Chaos models to make. And so that, those are out of print. So, like, that's the only way to get them, is to go, scrub eBay or local auctions and that kind of thing. So,
and I think that's one of the cool reasons to do secondhand, is you get a lot of the, it might not have as much meaning for me because I haven't been in the hobby that long. I've really like just played Kings of War, but all of those old Hammer miniatures, all the metal ones, like from the 90s and stuff that you can never find, like you can find some cool stuff on here. Now, eBay is one thing, because people are always just asking outrageous prices
They
and
are.
stuff like that. But dude,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, on Facebook Marketplace, like you can find some, especially if it's local and you can do like a public meetup pickup or something, you can find some good deals.
So someday, it won't be tomorrow, but someday you will come into my pile of opportunity, and I will let you go through it. Because I mean, there's probably like 15 giant totes of unpainted models.
Man,
Kings of War, Warhammer, take your pick.
I condensed down a lot when we moved back from Germany, just because houses are like much smaller on average over there.
Yeah.
We were just packed into that house, and I was like, dude, I gotta like go through some of my stuff. So I'm basically down to one tote now, and I've also kind of like been selling and trading some stuff since I've been here. Wheeling and dealing, like, kind of goes in with the episode. But
yeah,
no, I think these are good. These are all good starting points, and I think one good thing about Kings of War 2 and like the secondhand models is that if you are looking for specific Mantic models for Kings of War, they're kind of hard to find on the secondary market. I know we have the 2 Facebook pages. One is just a general Kings of War swap sales. I can't remember exactly what it's called, or it might be Mantic. And then there's one specific to the US. It might be difficult to find exactly what you're looking for, but if you're willing to be like, hey, like I just need some zombie models, right? Go on eBay, look up Warhammer Fantasy zombies, AOS zombies, like whatever it is. Like you can find a lot of stuff if you're opening your mind to some other models that you could use in there. But that being said, I've seen some people actually selling like full Mantic armies, Mantic painted units and stuff like that. Half of what I got, so I actually found a lot of like 50 skeletons, like 30 or 40 zombies that are in there that were Mantic. I was really surprised. And then the other ones that I got are some cool, I don't think they're the zombies that I got some of the older zombies from Fantasy. So they're kind of like, if you compare it to Mantic, they kind of like are a little chunkier and stuff. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to have that in there, just because I know like I never got to like play fantasy back in the day, but it might be like a good talking point, like to have a little bit of history in your army. So there's like there's that aspect of it too. But what I'm really excited about actually is I found a really good deal on some skeleton warriors from I can't. I'm probably going to butcher the name, but it's AOS. It's like the Osirak Bone Reapers. It's basically like AOS Tomb Kings, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, they are like they look good. I can't decide. I probably just like put them on regiments and either run them as revenants or run them as like just generic skeletons. So I also like having the ability to like okay, like maybe I have the skeleton unit right, but can I run it as revenants? I run it as skeletons. I think Jeremy would be proud of that, right? You can have like 2 or 3 units in one unit.
Just put like 4 models on the base, adds a building. Yeah. It's a horde.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. The biggest thing for me for secondhand models is well, saving money is always a good thing, but really like say, and I know you don't agree with this one, but saving the hobby time, like saving the time for assembly, is like the biggest thing. Now, I prefer to get them unpainted, at least like just prime, so you could reprime over them or whatever you want to do. But like half the stuff that I got was like pseudo painted, like base coated almost, and I'm like, this doesn't look that bad. But again, I'm talking about a horde of zombies. So if I was looking for like one very specific model, like a centerpiece model, it would be a much different look than like, dude, I just need some core infantry to fill out this horde base. So it's like, I have some older zombies that are base coated. So I'm going to go back in and like touch them up. And I know you mentioned that Grant talked about that, and Grant Feder talked about that in his episode I haven't listened to yet. So it's kind of interesting. We're like talking about that concept right now.
Yeah, it's a very coincidence because he has a term he calls polishing the turd, which is he buys like a crappily painted army on the cheap, and he just does a few tips to like, add a wash, maybe a quick highlight, clean up the basing, maybe fix the shield, and he plays them. And so he had a dwarf army back in the day that he did that with. And for those that don't know, there's a show called Garage Hammer that's based out of Chicago. That was a Warhammer show, now an AOS show. It's been running a long time. David Witek's awesome guy. And he was on that show a million years ago before I even really knew Grant, talking about it. And so I think buying secondhand models has been around for as long as we've been playing war games.
It's like a secondary to the hobby, really. If we talk about, I'm a big Magic the Gathering nerd. That's kind of like what got me into all of my nerdy hobbies. And like, well, part of Magic the Gathering is the secondary market. So honestly, the secondary market in Magic, it feels bigger than like actually playing Magic sometimes. I don't think it's quite that exaggerated in miniature war games, at least not in Kings of War, but it is always interesting that wherever there's a hobby space, it seems like there's always a secondary market for it. I mean, you could get on Facebook Marketplace and, find I don't know, like the snake terrarium or aquarium or whatever. Like people are going to sell anything, right? So
like our local store has flea markets, and I know I've sold stuff and I've bought stuff there. So there's like so many opportunities. You mentioned the Facebook groups available. You can go on eBay. There's places like there's a place, Noble Knight Games. I think it's in like the Madison, Wisconsin area. They buy older models and have them on their website for you to purchase. So yeah, I mean, it can be about saving money, but really, or about keeping something alive. Like you got this older army from somebody or some units, you can kind of like put some hobby juice into it and pump it up and get it back on the table. But for me, and I think you're going to agree with me, the number one thing about this whole thing is the hunt. And every hobby I have, dude, whether it's action figures, buying secondhand models, doesn't matter. It's the process of acquiring those things, getting the spreadsheets out and setting up the, back in the day when I was looking for like metal slayers for Warhammer, like setting up the eSnipe links to like, setting up the search engine. That was like a super fun part of the process. Like, I don't know, it was almost like a low when I actually got the stuff, but looking for it and identifying like sweet deals. Oh, that was tasty.
I'm right there with you, man. Like just getting online and looking at like, oh man, look at this. Like my save search on eBay, like this lot just hit 5 minutes ago. Let me check it out. And it's funny you say that. You're talking about like what you used to do back in the day to keep track of this stuff. One thing that I do now is that if I'm looking at a lot, like on eBay, on Facebook, whatever it is, let's say that it's because there's a lot of Warhammer stuff out there, whether it's 40K or AOS, and a lot of the times a good listing will have everything listed out. Like you'll see the pictures, but a good listing will have everything listed out at least by like name and unit and number and all that stuff. What I've been doing is you can take that. I take that, copy it, throw it in Chat GPT and say, hey, what's the retail price for all of this stuff? And what would be a good deal for it? And dude, it pulls the retail prices like that. It's so nice because sometimes you get some like rose colored glasses, right? And you're like, oh dude, they have that centerpiece model I'm looking for. I'm like, oh, maybe it's like $100. Oh man, that looks awesome, right? But then you start doing a little bit of research and you're like, well, the retail's only like $60. And normally, unless it's a pro painted like Commission Army, like when you're buying painted, it's going to be at a discount. You know what I mean?
Pro painted. I hate that term.
I say pro painted. I just mean like commissioned painted,
it's painted.
Army. Yeah.
It's funny you say that though. You know, the tips that I always give people is if you're going to use like service like eBay, you know, interestingly enough, people make spelling errors all the time in their listings. So if you intentionally look for the spelling errors, you'll find like deals that no one else is seeing. Number one, you mentioned that there'll be pictures and then there'll be like lists of models.
Yep.
Sometimes people don't actually know what they have. And so look at the pictures and see if stuff is actually what they think it is.
That's really good.
Sometimes you're like, oh, that's actually this other model that I'm looking for. But many times where I bought something, I bought a bulk, auction, or I've won a bulk auction.
You had some
and I'm
surprises
looking for
in
just
there?
one thing, but it just happens to be that I'm getting other stuff, right? And the other thing is, don't tip your hand. I tell people that don't tip your hand. Don't go in there just like, here's my bid. Use those sniping services. They don't cost that much. Number one, for me, if I'm using eBay, I'll use a service like eSnipe because I can set it and I can say, this is the absolute amount that I'm willing to spend on it. And then I set it and forget it. And I don't get into this emotional thing of like, because, the hunt's awesome. You know what else is awesome? Watching those bids coming in and, I'm going to get you. No, I take the emotion out of it. I just feel like, this is what I want to pay for it. If I win it, I don't. And some of those services, like I know eSnipe does, you can set up like multiple bids for multiple things that are the same bundle. And you can have it like if it wins one, it'll just automatically cancel the rest. It will only win you one of those things.
Oh, interesting. I'll be honest, Rob, I didn't even know that was the thing, eSnipe. So it was really interesting hearing that. Yeah.
You don't pay anything if you lose, but if you win, then you pay like a little commission on it. And you set how many milliseconds before the end of the thing. And I will say, I haven't used it in a long time. And I know now that there's probably like some auction techniques at different sites where like,
I'm sure there's similar tools out there.
If you get a late bid, then it like extends the length of the auction. Maybe the sellers don't want that, right? They want to get the most money possible, but eBay also wants those sellers to get the most money.
Yep, exactly. They get their cut.
They do. But yeah, the hunt for me is always the fun part. And, one of my favorite things in the whole wide world too is I love going into game stores I've never been to before. You go in there and the hope is that I'm going to see something maybe from the 90s, whatever. It's just something I haven't seen in a long time. Most of the time it's nothing I need, but I'm going to buy it anyways because it's cool. That's how I actually started playing Warriors of Chaos War Master models for Kings of War, because I went into our local shop and they had taken in like a consignment and they had a bunch of this is in like the mid 2000s. And like, here's a bunch of War Master models. I'm like, okay. And they weren't gouging anybody. So I was like, oh, they're new in box.
Yeah. Sometimes you just walk upon the opportunity, right? Just like you said, just walking in the door on that. So I meant to ask you before that. So you're playing 10mm Kings of War?
Yeah, I have a Warriors of Chaos army. I can send you the link. I have a page on our website that details how we do the basing. We use War Master basing.
Yeah.
40mm by 20mm. And in War Master, you do cavalry long ways, like deep, like a wedge.
The
20mm is the front. We go ahead and turn it sideways just to use that as a troop. So we use one 40mm by 20mm base for a troop. 2 is a regiment, and 4 is a horde. And we have little movement trays that we had made by Shogun Miniatures that they drop in. So it's a little metal tray. And I probably have 6,000 points. And actually it's funny, again, timing rise, because I can't remember. We talked about this on one of the Masters chats.
You talked about 10mm?
Yeah, we just talked about it, and
That's
I'm
funny.
like, it's so weird, but yeah, I love 10 millimeter because
How-
it's a different scale. It paints really
Yeah.
fast.
How often do you play? Not
Once a
very.
year. Yeah,
Yeah,
once a year.
yeah.
I mean, we used to have more guys that had armies, but some of them have sort of either retired from wargaming or just moved away. So it's certainly something something I would love to get back to. I still have a bunch of Warriors of Chaos, War Master stuff to paint. I got some more dragons. I've got some, now. This was all made probably in like 2.0, right? So it'd be interesting to see what I have now because Varnger doesn't exist. So how would I repurpose that?
Oh yeah, that is.
I mean,
true.
I have a lot of knights. I think knights are still a thing.
Yeah, you could do. You think you could just do like Kingdoms of Men or something? Yeah, Basileia maybe. But yeah, that's really interesting. I never knew that you played 10 millimeter because when I was in Germany, Clem was a very big proponent of that. It was really cool. He showed me his army, and he just brought in like a lunchbox,
A little tiny case.
and
I have like the smallest tableware case.
Yeah,
the smallest tableware case.
It was
has
really
all
cool.
Has the whole army, and the bottom has a drawer that has the movement trays, and yeah, like a huge army fits in there.
How big's the table?
Well, okay, so Clem and like the March Zelinskis of the world,
Yeah,
I believe they play where they scale everything down. They size things appropriately.
right.
We don't do that. We play straight up regular Kings of War with small bases.
Okay.
On a 4x6. Yeah, it plays 10,000 points. And we don't add any magical artifacts because you don't need it when you have like 20
Everything.
units of knights. It doesn't you don't need anything. And it was more fun back in the day when we had a historical book because historical armies in 10 millimeter are like easy to come by. Actually, even the fancy stuff now, there's a lot of 3D print options now, I would imagine. So yeah, we'll have to play that at some point. We'll have to find an event where I can bring it and we can play. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd like to check it out, man. That's cool. Even if we just do like a small point game on a little baby. But is that the
you
point?
You gotta go 5,000 points.
Yeah.
Because like you're just throwing stuff away. You're like, take it. Yeah, and I will say it probably takes the tickle out of the strategy a little bit, just because movement isn't quite as precise at that scale. There are some people that would say, at the very least, just change the ranges to centimeters, and that'll help, right? So, but we don't even do that.
Well, dude, it sounds like it might be a good, like, end of tournament type game if all you're doing is just throwing stuff out there, right?
Or beginning of turn.
Yeah.
One of my highlights of any event is Ray Shields brought I think it was a Middle Earth game, but it was Helm's Deep, and he brought all the models, and it was a full-on siege at Helm's Deep, and we played it at Mountaineer, which is right around where the that one day event, because Chris Fisher hosted Mountaineer. His dad's the one that owns that My Hobby place. So, but it was so much fun because it wasn't about like, look at my great tactics. No, it's like, who can roll sixes? Let's do it, man. Let's just throw as many orcs at the wall.
Sometimes it's like that. Yeah.
Sometimes it'd be like that. So,
that's awesome.
In terms of buying stuff secondhand, the hunt for me is always the thing. And what's really interesting with Warhammer, I was always a purist, so I'm looking for specific things. But Kings of War is the community. With the community, it's figure agnostic, right? So like, it makes it much easier. You have plenty of choice. You can literally buy stuff based on the cost. Like if you're doing an ogre army, you're looking for ogres. Well, there's lots of different ogre models, so you don't have to lock yourself into one specific range. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I've really been talking about like one specific range. I've really been mostly used Mantic models. Not really for any specific reason. I think the Mantic undead range is pretty good. I really like that. I really like their zombies. Like they paint up really well. I think they look really good. So I've really not had a reason to switch over. The first time I switched over was when I was redoing my army for Adepticon 2023. It's been that long, where I didn't the whites were still metal back then. I hate metal models. At least I don't mind like metal individual models. But when you put a metal model, like a horde of metal models, I'm not a fan.
I'm going to go to my garage tomorrow. I'm going to pull out on my dead and just send it to you because I think I have a lot. And there probably is some metal in there just to make you furious.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah. I made the decision to be like, okay, I use the Spirit Host from GW for them, and it kind of worked out because it's a really easy paint job. I just paint them up like ghostly blue to fit the army. And that's the first time. And when I did that, I was like, okay, maybe I'll like open the door a little bit and start looking at everything else.
Here's a little fun travel down memory lane. You're talking about whites. In first edition, whites were on like 25 millimeter bases, and the unit was a 3x1. It was 3 guys in a base. And so it wasn't until second edition that they became bigger.
So they were just like a little Death Star moving around.
When I got into Kings of War, I played Undead for like the first 3 or 4 years, and so through first edition into second, there's a lot of stuff that changed in the army that I never like. I have Wraiths, and they were metal, right? The whites, I had the whites, but I never got the bigger whites.
Yeah.
Like back then, they didn't even have like Soul Reaver infantry. Like they eventually got metal ones, but I was already switched over to ogres by that point.
Right.
So and like they had a ghoul. So you had a ghoul horde, and I can't remember what they called this, but they had a 10x3 unit. So it's 3 deep and 10 wide. I don't know.
What in the world?
First edition, bro. It was a whole thing. It's like the Island of Misfit Toys up in here.
I started in 2020. I guess it was technically second edition, but I didn't really is that
it
right?
Might have been third edition. Didn't third edition come out
like right 2019? At the beginning of
I think
third edition. Yeah, I think you're right.
2019.
I went back and I found funny enough on eBay, I found a first edition rule book signed for like $30 or something like that. So I had to pick it up. And then I was like, well, okay, well that was a good deal, right? Thrill of the Hunt. And now it's like, okay, I have the first edition rule book, I have the third edition rule book. So I got to finish it at that point. So then I went online and looked up a second edition rule book. So it's funny, I'm gonna have to, you were talking about your undead, I'm gonna have to get back in the rule book and actually open it up and read about that, because it's funny to think about how much the game has changed over that time. But now I think we've talked a lot about why we like secondhand, whether it's Thrill of the Hunt, whether it's, for me, saving time for assembly or priming or whatever it is, saving money. I'm sure everybody likes to save a little bit. A lot of the times I find that there's no like hard set rule on what equates to a good deal. But basically, I try to think it's like, okay, if I'm buying something secondhand, I want to look at a deal that's like 70% MSRP, like if it's a new in the box. So like that's a pretty good deal, getting 30% off of what you would get in the store if it's brand new. Now, if stuff is put together, if it's painted, like maybe it's not a great paint job, you might be looking like at the 40 to 50% MSRP. But it really just depends, because at that point you're kind of just trading time for the deal. So like maybe you find something you're happy with the paint job by looking at it. You're like, okay, I can spruce this up a little bit, and it's 60% off MSRP. Well, like that's a great deal, right? Maybe, but you find something that's 50% off MSRP, but you're not happy with the paint job, and you're like, dude, I would have to like strip those and like basically start from scratch. Like, that might not be worth it. But I think one thing that we didn't really focus on is, like, we talked about the Thrill of the Hunt, what like equates a good deal and stuff like that. And we've name dropped a few locations, but there's a lot of different resources out there to look for secondhand miniatures, secondhand models, secondhand terrain, like secondhand wargaming, whatever it is. So the first one that we talked about a lot was eBay, right? I mean, that's probably the most well-known venue for it. Other than that, we talked about Facebook Marketplace. I think that one's really good to find local deals, but I wanted to just mention a couple of here. I'll just kind of blaze through them, and we can talk about specifics here. But other than Facebook Marketplace, there's also the Facebook buy sell groups, which I mentioned before. There's the specific one for Mantic. But if you get on there and you start looking for just like miniature wargaming secondhand, or like GW, like specific games or whatever it is, there's so many pages out there. I mean, I think I joined a 40K buy and sell group that had like 50,000 members. I mean, it's just an insane number. So Facebook is a really good resource to find some of these deals. You were talking about doing the bulk deal. There was the one seller that had the Mantic models is like, they had them split up. It was like zombie lot A, zombie lot B, skeleton lot C, skeleton lot D. This might be a note for getting deals too. Is I just shot a note to the seller and I was like, hey, will you like bundle all these together for me? And they were like, oh yeah, and I also have this like other stuff sitting on the shelf. Would you be interested in that? And she's like, I'll give you 20% off and just throw these models in. I said, yeah, sure, why not? I didn't even know what they were sending, but they were actually, I don't know if because they're two metal models and they're Wraith models, but I don't know if they're like the older ones or if they're GW or something like that. But you reminded me because I got an extra Balefire catapult. I don't know why you just like unlocked this memory. The only reason that I found Kings of War and Manta Games was because I was looking at fantasy. I was like wiffle waffling back and forth about getting started in Warhammer Fantasy. Obviously, this is right before it got nuked. But I was looking at, I was a broke college student at the time, so I was looking for cheap alternatives, and I knew I wanted to play Vampire Count, so I was looking for like cheap alternatives as zombies. And everything I read was like, "Oh, dude, check out Manta Game Zombies! Like they're great." And that's kind of how it started. That's so funny that you just reminded me of that.
Yeah, I'll have to go through all my stuff because like I don't play Undead anymore.
Every time that I want to switch, I know I've talked about it a couple of times about like, I'd really kind of want to build my Forces of Nature army back because the last time I played it was in version 3, 3.5. So it's not, I can't field it right now. But it's like every time I do that, I'm like, I could start updating my Forces of Nature army, or I could add like 4 hordes of zombies to undead. So I don't know. I got a problem. I'm just like undead obsessed. I think if I played more, like more regularly, I'd probably get tired of it. But it's just I'm like I'm comfortable with the army, but I'm not bored with it yet. So I think I'm in a good spot. To go back to the list here. Just the last couple of bullets. So we mentioned Facebook Marketplace, Facebook buy and sell groups, but we also had like local clubs, like local game stores. A lot of my game stores in the area actually have specific secondhand, like they advertise. It's like, hey, we buy everything, like painted models, models in boxes. I mean, a lot of them have display cases when you walk in, and they'll have, a lot of it is Warhammer and some of the more popular games, but they have everything that you can think of. So it might be worth it just to stop in. And really, they look like pretty good deals. They're a little bit higher. They might only be like 80% MSRP, 90% MSRP. But if you find something that looks good, or you just don't really feel like putting the kit together, that might be a good place to check out as well. And then the other ones here, I don't use very much, but I think it's a good point for people that like to use it. There's a couple of subreddits. Mini Swap is one of them. You can get on there, and there's a ton of members on there. But a lot of these subreddits kind of have like rules you have to follow about how you post your listings. People can give you reviews and everything like that. Um, and then the other one, I think Rob mentioned this, is like flea markets, conventions. You never know where you might find a painted or like an old hammer model sitting around. So there's a lot of stuff out there. I will say it is easier using eBay and Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that. When you get into using stuff like Reddit, like the mini swap, I mean, a lot of those larger subreddits are pretty reputable, but you just kind of, you never know. There's always a possibility of scammers being out there. It's just something to keep in mind. I think one piece of advice, at least my piece of advice, is if you're going to pay somebody to ship something to you, always do PayPal goods and services. So if you don't get it, PayPal refunds your money. It charges the seller like a 3% fee, but the only people who are going to say no to PayPal goods and services are probably scammers. So just something to keep in mind. But if you use a big platform like eBay or Facebook Marketplace, you don't really have to worry about that as much. But you also pay a little bit more. Like eBay prices are a little bit higher than if you find something on the Kings of War like swap page on Facebook or whatever it is. There's a lot of resources out there.
Some of those sites you're paying for the convenience, right? So eBay, you can just keyboard warrior it and find what you're looking for without leaving your house. But there's a cost to that, right? Because there's a lot of people like that looking for, and then you end up getting into a bid war and stuff. So, I always tell people, like, figure out what you want and what you're willing to pay for it, right? I think that it's important to really nail that down. Unfortunately, some people think stuff's worth gold. It's like, oh, I'm trying to get rid of this. Okay, but
Yeah.
you're the one trying to get. I don't need it. You're trying to, for whatever reason, you're selling it. I'm not going to give you, 90% of retail value because that's crazy, right? Come on.
And then if you do find something, especially on some of the more platforms, like don't just jump. I know Rob said this before, like don't just buy it. Send a message. Like ask for more photos. Like, hey, just do the nature of the deal. Like, hey, you're asking $100. Will you do 80 for it?
Offers are always a good idea because they have those, like, make a best offer. It's like, and sometimes they'll be like, no, we're looking for, that's fine. But you know what? They can only say no, but they might say yes.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't like really want it, I know it's weird. Like we're talking about the hunt, right? And it kind of like gets emotional a little bit. Like when you start
Yeah.
talking about like a bid, especially some stuff on eBay and like and on Facebook too. It's just it's like you just click it and buy it, right? Or you can submit an offer for it and do it like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a ton of resources, especially nowadays. And honestly, like if you're not sure something is a good deal, but it's piqued your interest, grab the listing. I mean, even just grab the photos, throw it to Chat GPT, throw it to Claude, and be like, "Hey, bro, is this a good deal?" And it'll tell you if it is or not, if you're not sure about it. So, have you bought anything recently, Rob? Like secondhand? Have you gotten anything?
I'm trying to think.
To be fair, it sounds like you don't really need to buy.
I don't need anything. Honestly, like I
anything.
can pretty much go in the garage. I have all the models I need, That being said, when new stuff comes out,
Yeah, I get that feeling. So here's the thing, because I don't think I explicitly asked you, how do you feel? Well, I know you said you bought an army, but how do you feel
Mhm.
about buying like painted in general?
So I have two kind of armies types for me. I have armies that they're kind of like a palette cleanse or like it's a speed project. So I have a large orcs and goblins army. Well, technically orcs and goblins. It was before speed paints, but a lot of like base coats, washes, and that kind of thing. So for those type of armies, I'm totally fine with if I felt up to it, like I found the right thing, it'd be totally fine to buy a painted army. And then, as Grant would say, polish the turd. It's if I'm looking for like a competition painted army, right? Like where I'm really trying to invest the time. No, I've got to I got to get the models. I've got to wash them and get the mold lines off, and just know from the ground up that everything was done to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
So those I wouldn't start with a painted model. Now, if I had to, I could buy a painted model and strip it. I've done that.
Like if
before.
you were looking for a very specific model, then
correct,
you would at that point you would buy it in the strip, and that makes sense, especially when you're hunting for those old hammer models or like whatever it is you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody has seen it today. I think it was today. But Mantic put out another blog post. There were a couple of good things in there. It was talking about the campaign this summer. I think it starts in August, so it's still a little while. And they also mentioned that they are extending the slow grow by a couple of weeks. It seems like some Mantic employees were a little bit behind the curve, so they're giving themselves a little bit of extra time. There's some good pictures in there too. It was great to check out. But big news, and I'm pretty sure I didn't misunderstand this. So everybody knows the Green Rage command for the orcs. When 4th edition came out, Green Rage was exploding sixes on hits for the orcs. When Fracture was published, this most recent supplement, they went in and they updated the command orders because the orcs wasn't an army in there, but they kind of tweaked some of the other armies too. They updated the Green Rage command order to only be exploding sixes on wounds, so decreasing the effectiveness of it a little bit. This blog post mentions that was actually incorrect, and Green Rage has reverted back to the original version that was printed in the 4th edition rulebook, meaning that they explode on sixes on hits. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like they've worded it that it's a correction, right? That they made a mistake. They were testing two different versions, and the wrong version that they decided to go with got in the book. So I think the orc players will like that.
Yeah, and I think the way that they worded it in the blog post is just like, hey, we didn't mean to print it in Fracture, just ignore it. So if you want to look for like the rule of Green Rage, I'm not sure if it's updated on the companion app, but just go into the 4th edition rulebook and like refer back to that one. So I thought that was pretty interesting on that. Okay, Rob, I think that just about does it for our main topic here. I know we kind of jumped all over the place, but hopefully the listeners got some good nuggets in their secondhand hunt for the deal. But, I guess the big takeaway here is Kings of War has definitely been more of like an open hobby space. Like we know people don't have to use Mantic models. We know that 3D printing has always been very accepted in the community, and especially with the move to the vault, it's just been like people want to see exactly what they want to do, right? And I think buying secondhand really fits the spirit of the game perfectly, just because people have the opportunity to find those cool old metal models and make them fit in their, I want to say modern, but like their current army, which is really cool, especially for, some old heads like you and some other people that are out there that have access to all of these older models to give them new life. And, maybe they've been sitting in a box in the garage for 15, 20 years. And now to get them back on the tabletop again playing is like, it's really cool. And for me, as like a relatively newer player, I just mentioned it earlier, but like, I have some like original zombies from fantasy that I get to like integrate in the army. So if nothing else, it's a cool conversation piece, right? And really, I think me and you see eye to eye on this. Secondhand models, it's all about the thrill of the hunt. Always looking for a deal, always looking for like that next cool model. Be like, oh my god, I didn't know they made this or something like that. So yeah, I think it fits into the hobby realm of Kings of War very, very well. And there's a lot of resources out there for it, especially nowadays. There's tons of places to find deals. And that's it for this evening. Until next time, keep countercharging.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Countercharge. Please let us know what you thought of the show by emailing us at counterchargepodcast@gmail.com, on Twitter at countercharge15, or by commenting on the Countercharge Kings of War podcast Facebook group. If you enjoy the show, you can help others find out about it by leaving positive reviews on iTunes. Until next time, keep countercharging. Music is a composition of Kevin MacLeod and is licensed under Creative Commons.